Hello, everyone, and welcome to Linguistics with Sam. Now, I'm Sam, obviously, and I decided I want to learn linguistics. I mean, I already have learned quite a bit. I've gone into psycholinguistics quite in depth, but I'm like, I need to go into the main disciplines. Now, the best way to learn, in my opinion, is to teach. So here I am teaching my imaginary YouTube audience. Now, today we're starting with our first two disciplines, really, because they're not the same thing, as we will learn, is phonology and phonetics. Now, that was the first question that came into my head when I thought phonology and phonetics. What are they? Well, phonology is the branch of linguistics that studies the sound systems, patterns, and organization of specific languages, which basically means each language has its own type of phonology. So its own sound systems, its own sound patterns, and its own sound organization. Now, for my sake, I'm looking at English because I speak English, and I'm lazy and I can't be asked to learn another language. Now, it looks at how languages systematically organize their phonemes. Now, phonemes is the smallest unit of sound. I know that, magic. Now, the main areas of phonology consist of segmental phonology, which focuses on the phonemes itself, suprasegmental phonology, which is the prosody, which basically is, your pitch, your tone, your intonation, all those things like that, and goes into your suprasegmental phonology. Then you've got phonotactics, which is rules for possible sequences of phonemes. So obviously there has to be some set of rules. You can't just chuck random phonemes together and call it a day. You've got to put them together because sometimes it's not possible to put some phonemes together. Phonological rules and processes. So these are sounds in context. Yeah, again, it kind of goes into the phonotactics bit, but you know, just saying. Distinctive features like voicing, places of articulation. So basically, in my opinion, it's kind of like articulatory phonetics, but obviously phonology has to integrate with phonetics in some ways, and that's okay. And then you've got morphophonology, change of pronunciation in morphemes. So basically, looking at when you put morphemes together to form a word, how does the sound of the morphemes change, if you get me? Now, what is phonetics? Phonetics is the branch of linguistics that studies the physical production, acoustic transmission, and auditory perception of human speech sounds. Now, with phonetics, it's kind of nice because these are basically the three sub-disciplines in phonetics. Now, it focuses on the physical production of speech, but it also looks at the transmission and the perception of speech as well. Now, the main areas of phonetics consist of articulatory phonetics, so how sound is produced, acoustic phonetics, how sound is transmitted, and auditory phonetics, how sound is perceived. Wait, guys, I don't know, perceived, that's the word. And then I also put clinical phonetics on here because, oh, sorry. I also put clinical phonetics on here because I think it's important, like, to know how these are applied to modern day world, and clinical phonetics helps people with speech disorders, impediments, and helps them to modify how they speak so they can learn how to speak normally in a non-stigmatized way, if you get me. Now, what is the difference between phonetics and phonology? Now, there is lots of differences, and I could have put lots on here, but I only put two on, which helped me understand the difference. Now, in my opinion, I understood the difference right away, but I could understand how some people were like, well, they are very, very similar, and it doesn't help that their names are very, very similar as well. But phonetics is universal to all languages as seen through the IPA, which stands for the International Phonetic Alphabet. Now, I could show you it, but I don't have it on me right now. But it's just a big piece of A4 paper with all the phonetic symbols, and it's a mess. If I'm being honest, it's a mess. But that's why we're here. We're here to learn, of course. Anyway, phonology focuses on specific languages. So, obviously, I talked about that in the past slide, specific languages. However, phonetics works universally, which is why it says International Phonetic Alphabet. International. So you could apply the International Phonetic Alphabet to any language out there, but you couldn't apply specific phonology to like every language. Okay. Phonetics focuses on the physical production, whereas phonology focuses on on sound functions to distinguish meanings. So in this way, phonetics yet again, physical production, but phonology is more focused on meaning. However, I do really think it's important to note that this doesn't mean aren't integrated. Like for me, when you've got a phonology and phonetics textbook, you notice like sometimes you can't distinguish if it's phonetics or phonology. They are so interlinked, but yeah, at the same time, so different, and that's also important to notice. Now, the next lesson we'll be doing is what is articulatory phonetics, but that will be on the next video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you guys